I think gender discrimination is more subtle. I don't know that I have ever been told, you can't do that because you're a woman, you can't do that because you're a girl, you can't do that because you're a female. But there's no doubt that there are things that you haven't been invited to do, or lists that you have been left off of, or opinions that have not been valued.
I feel like today we're faced more with systemic oppression than blatant oppression. So I, luckily enough, have not been in a position where someone has told me that I couldn't do something because of my gender, or even honestly because of my race. But I have been in positions where I've been, for example, a part of a team of women who has been led by a male leader, and the male leader has just completely dropped the ball on what his responsibilities were supposed to be.
The first time I really experienced this was actually last year when I was part of the Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment case competition. And while MLSC as an organization was nothing but empowering to women, I did face a lot of skepticism from some of the other competitors.
There's this idea that maybe women are not in the same realm as men in a lot of aspects.
I know that growing up in education, if you raise your hand a lot in class as a girl, it was bossy, whereas it made the guys more popular.
We had a vice principal who would always come to the class and ask for the boys to leave class early to help set up chairs in the gymnasium because of an assembly. I think I hounded him so much that he gave up asking, and he would just come and ask who wanted to help. In general, I think a lot of times people underestimate women, and me in particular, in terms of our physical ability. Some of my fellow teammates, my female teammates, are the physically strongest people that I know.
Thinking back to school playground when I was a kid, that I wasn't allowed to play football with the boys.
When I started going to the gym, it was really difficult for me to pick up the bigger weights just because I felt that women weren't almost allowed in the weight room.
I think that just being a girl and playing a sport, you're automatically seen to be inferior and not as good.
I used to play in a lot of boys' sports, and a lot of the time they'd be like, you're too short, you're too little, you can't do this. And it was always one of those things where I'm like, don't tell me what to do.
As far as people telling you that you can't do things because you're a woman, sometimes it's not as forward as because you are a woman, you can't do this. It's a lot of the microaggressions.
The lack of female representation that exists right now, and there being such a low percentage of women in engineering and in STEM as a whole. And I just think that if there were more women in engineering, there'd be better perspectives and opinions.
I think that women in general, all over our campus, they bring so many unique perspectives from where they come from, their cultures, and I think it's really great that we focus on all of their accomplishments and their experiences, especially looking at it from an intersectional focus, and make sure that we are celebrating all of them and not just those of us that tend to be in positions of power.
My mom's a big inspiration, actually. So she works for Environment Canada, and she's a technician there. And she was one of the first females in her field.
J.K. Rowling. She never gave up on her dream to have her book published. She insisted and she believed in herself, and I think that determination is something that's always really resonated with me.
Something that I'm always really inspired by is people that find a cause, find a mission, find a problem, and they go all in on building a solution from scratch.
Progressive women in politics like Nikki Ashton and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
My grandma is the person who literally brought my entire family to Canada, and I could not be more grateful for her.
Serena Williams, both as a woman and as an athlete.
There's this DJ called Peggy Gou, and I find her really inspiring just because she has made it really big in the music scene, and I think that's kind of hard to do as an Asian woman.
Women who stand up when they recognize there is a wrong and they try their best to make it right.
I would tell my grade 7 self that it may feel like the absolute worst time in the world, but things do get better.
You be you. And I love that expression. Just be yourself.
I think the biggest thing is not being afraid to be afraid. Doing that first step will open the door for so many other people.
Follow your dreams. A lot of people are afraid to because they're too out there and people doubt you and you're like, you shouldn't do this. But to be honest, if people aren't doubting you, then your dreams aren't big enough.
Be supportive of women, mentor when I can, and just share my own experiences.
I think it's important to believe in yourself and be strong in everything that you do.
Find something you really love early, so you can develop that passion.
Whatever you enjoy doing, don't change that or hide that because of your role as a woman in society.
Young girls need to not be afraid to speak up and have their opinions heard.
I really encourage girls that come from backgrounds like this to never let anyone tell you that you can't do something. No matter what anyone tells you about it being improper, or it being, inconvenient to their worldview.
My name is Colette.
Heather McCann.
I'm Ainslie Timmons.
I'm a researcher.
I run varsity track.
Mary Gillett,
Delaney Spencer, and I'm a rock climber.
Ivy Business School faculty member and a proud new grandmother.
I'm in engineering, and I'm also on the Western Women's Track and Field team.
Dunne.
Sabrina, Yuen, and I am the pre-med president and a paddler for NDRC and Western Dragon Boat Club.
Kianah Dames.
DeFrancisco.
I'm MacKay, and I'm a social entrepreneur.
President of Western Women in Leadership.
I'm Diyana. I'm the culture editor and a co-founder of Iconoclast.
Last year, I was the brush ahead soft.
VP Academic of the FIMS SC, and I'm also on O staff.
I'm Elizabeth Tkachuk,
Elisa Gontier,
Dunne, and I'm the current associate vice president.
a member of the women's varsity squash team.
President of the Fashion and Lifestyle Society at Western.
Hi, I'm Kelly Hatch. I'm a badass librarian at Western Libraries.